Okay, ready? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to the planning board meeting for the town of Manlius on June 9th. We are in person and hybrid online, and have 5 members here tonight, but we still have a quorum, so we're good. The first item on our agenda is the approval of our minutes from our May 12th, 2025 meeting. I don't have any comments or changes. I don't know if anyone else does, or I'll take a motion to approve. Okay, motion made. I saw Don Richard, seconded by Judy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The minutes are approved. The second item on our agenda.
Madam Chair, can I you get a permit for renovating this?
No, I have not.
Just want to put it on the record.
Well, this is more of a rearrangement. Well, yeah. All right, so the first item for discussion is for a special use permit renewal for Lily Comarak at 7328 New York State Route 173 in Manlius. And this is for the same address for landscaping storage. And the tax map number is 109.02-02.0. And in our possession, we have a memo from Tom Poitras, our code enforcement officer, who said there have not been any complaints or violations from the neighboring property owners. There's also been no changes from the original special use permit approvals, and so he recommends that the renewal be approved for a period of 7 years to expire June 9th, 2032. So, questions or comments for the new renewal?
For the end of it.
2032. 7 years. Yeah. From today. So if there's no further comments or discussion, I would take a motion for approval of the special use permit renewal for 7 years.
Excellent.
Okay, motion made by Dave, second by Arnie, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for that approval of the special use permit. Our next item is for Salt Springs LLC under Patrick. This is on the agenda for public hearing for a 2-lot subdivision at 8473 Salt Springs Road. Tax map number is 091.02-17.1. Ed Reed here on behalf of the applicant, and I know we discussed last time we needed some changes made in subdivision map, which I think almost all the changes were made. And there is one, we kind of discussed lot 2 and the fact that it makes sense to leave it on because this is divided into 1A and 1B. So that would indicate why. But on the minute, going back to our minutes actually, from last time, the on in the title block there, let's say subdivision of lot 1, L subdivision into lot 1A and lot 1B. So unless older one, I think that still needs to be corrected, which doesn't necessarily have to tonight, but that would need to change before it can be signed. I don't know if you have any updates before we want to do.
Oh, I think that was it. So in the second line of the title block where it says parts of lot 68 and 78. That's what you're referring to,
Yes, right.
Yes.
right?
Yeah, just in the title block.
So re-subdivision of lot 1, Hale subdivision north, parts of lots 68 and 78.
Um, Well, just the re-subdivision of lot 1, Franklin, L subdivision north.
Yep.
Third blocks, blah, blah, blah. Into lot 1A.
Your points though that you took out the proposed.
Yes.
Yeah, no, like the building envelope, everything, yeah.
It's having to look like what we asked for.
Yeah, so we can move forward still, and then it will be, you know, condition on that change in the title block, but if you have anything else to add, otherwise we can have Jane lead us through secret.
Okay, part 2, SCAF. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in use or intensity of the use of land? No. Or small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a area? Proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies or public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? Proposed action results in increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
All of the answers being answered no. All the questions being answered no or small impact. The chair may entertain motion for secret.
Okay, so, for a motion. Okay, motion made by Don, seconded by Artie, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for a negative secret declaration. Now we can move to the public hearing. Lisa, did you publish the notice? Anyone want to hear the read or do we need a motion? Thank you. Judy, motion to waive the reading?
Aye.
Second by Artie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
None.
Okay, motion carries. Now I'll take a motion to open the public hearing.
That's the move.
Okay, motion made by David, second by Artie, all in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open. Is there anyone here to speak? Okay, take a motion to close. Okay, motion made by Artie, second by Don. Artie, second by Don, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Public hearing is closed. Okay. So, I don't know if the board has any other comments or anything they want to bring up about this lot subdivision. We know, that it has to be a change in the title block. So, anyone wants to make a motion, to include that in their motion as a condition that the title block will change to include into lots 1A and 1B.
So on the subdivision, there would be that the map be filed in accordance with the rules of conduct and then a copy of it be filed, be sent to the town.
by Val. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for subdivision, two lot subdivision. Okay,
Right, Molly? Yeah. Love that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Right. Next item on the agenda is for Tim Cooley. This is for a second presentation for a site plan and special use permit for a pole barn at 8568 East Genesee Street. And this is tax map number 0.02-02.2.
Can you pull out the street view, please?
Hi, here on behalf of the applicant.
Yes, I am. I'm Alex Samray with Captain Rifford Associates.
Okay. I know that there's been some correspondence between you and Doug, and, Doug, should we go through the latest memo and the draft comments and kind of go through that, unless, do you want any updates from the last correspondence or anything you want to share?
No, I figured that's where we were jumping in to make sure we were on the same page with how I responded. If anything was left out, if we can, correct that.
Bring it up to the street view, yeah, okay. And I know, Jamie, you had some. Just so everybody knows that building in the back, like the single door, that one is not. So the site looks a little bit different today. So that building is gone, and right now there's the trucks. Has everybody been by? Yes, the trucks are, different trucks, but trucks are not. All right, Doug, do you wanna go through to respond to the memo responses, or do you want to kind of start?
Yeah.
Okay. And just feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I just, we were looking for a little bit more detail on the plans. We asked for elevations, but we really haven't received them. We got
So
we got this document, right, but it didn't tell us the height of the building or.
it should in the elevations, I think it had the height on it. I have it right here. I can also make sure, but,
So what we would be looking for is, elevation plans that we can put in or documentation on the site.
right, so which is maybe where I'm getting confused on it, if these elevations that were provided do in fact have heights on them, should they be pulled and put on a site plan sheet? I guess I provided it in this format because this is what the company that provides these prefab structures gives you. It's the engineering documents with all that, and so I thought maybe it was an excess of details I provided, but I thought maybe when we didn't provide enough the first time that this would be helpful, and maybe it's too much, but if that's not what you're looking for, I'm interested to continue to try and address that. But like
I think some of the other things like, the existing building.
Yeah.
The proposed parking is in the front part of that building, but it doesn't necessarily line up with garage doors.
okay,
And then the question is, do we have parking in front of garage doors that deny the accessibility to that building, or should the parking be somewhere else?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can try and rework it. I guess we were trying to prioritize a couple different things, reducing overall impervious surface and removing gravel and pulling that away. And so I guess, I believe in that current site plan layout, it may be difficult to get parking and achieve things like that. And the parking was placed where it was, because that's where Mr. Cooley had said he would, but really he's pulling in to remove the equipment things he's storing for his business, but he's not parking in it per se. I don't know. I understand. I guess those are kind of two conflicting things, providing parking at this site as well as how he's actually just using it, which is pulling up, bringing the items and then leaving. And so we're willing to work on something that appeases that, but in the site plan layout, I believe parking would have to be in front of one of the two sets of building garage doors. And it wouldn't block the other ones, but it would have to be that way with the extent of the gravel surfacing that we've shown.
So the other question we had was, in your correspondence that this is a landscaping business.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so in this zone, it can be commercial storage with a special use permit.
Mhm.
But it can't be any operation of the landscape.
no, he doesn't operate, it's just storage of the equipment.
So we have to be clear on that,
Yeah, that's
and
always
all of
what
the
it is.
documentation and everything.
Yeah.
It's commercial storage, but
Yeah.
not,
Absolutely.
and that would, when we get to the special use permit, that will be a condition of the special. There will be no landscape business.
Right.
He never has, it's always just been storage, that's,
But is he using it as a headquarters for his business?
I mean, as much as you can call it that, he does it part-time and stores it, and when he gets contract to contract, he pulls it out, so I
Does he have
guess
a
it's.
business, use this address as the official address?
I believe so, yes.
Because that's the other question, right? I mean,
I'm sorry, so
Nobody made it, sorry.
I said, does he have an official business in there? She said, well, not kind of. I said, does he have an official business that's registered in that location for the name of the business?
So I think that we pretty much, from what I gather here, commercial storage is permitted in this zoning district. That's what this is. If everyone is consenting.
But if his business is registered in that location as a business. Question is, she did not.
Correct, and I will clarify that with him. I guess does it not need to be, or does it need to be? What are-
We're trying to
what are we
determine
looking
that this is only storage. I would think that the impact of the fact that he runs the business out of there and the business is registered there.
Right.
That
Right,
makes it
running,
different.
and if he's running the business out of there, it's like an office and there's all different.
for? There's none of that, right. So he's not running the business out of there.
So I
But-
think
but it-
just clarify.
it looks like the new building only has one garage bay, and right, we need to see a floor plan, because it looks like there, to David's point, there's an
Yeah.
office in here.
So there's two garage bays, it's all open, there's just a man door, you can walk in that way, there won't be an office. And we did provide the floor plan in the building plans, not this submission, but the last one, there's nothing in it, that's why it's just open. It's just one big storage space.
Yeah, I think the floor plan that was provided, I actually got rid of it because it doesn't match the layout of the building, so I think we need an accurate.
This one is one garage, two garage,
Oh,
man door.
okay.
This was two submissions ago, we provided
Okay,
this.
I
The
thought you
other
had
one.
original.
Yes, yeah, we corrected that one,
Yeah.
that was incorrect, yeah,
Okay, so this.
that was our bad, that was a communication error between me and the client, which was the current one.
That exists. Acceptable for floor plan.
That was in this submission, and that doesn't match this, which was also in this submission. So they contradict each other.
What's in there that's contradicting?
Yeah, there's,
Yeah, like the building of this.
So that's another point with this, that they have all the notes in there, I guess it's a general building to the fact that that's what prefab,
Right.
that's the,
pull that up, Valerie, that what you just showed me.
The floor plan?
Yeah, that doesn't match.
Yes, it does, that's the correct one. That has 2 bays,
Yeah, except it doesn't match this.
so that's what, so yeah. the
And it doesn't match
architectural-
this.
Yes, it does, it matches that one. It's mirrored, I suppose, we can have it mirrored so that it does, but it's the 2 bays and then the overhead right here, which is the 2 bays and the overhead in the floor plan. I'm sorry, I don't have better words to distinguish each document, but these buildings.
This looked to me like this was landscaping sloped.
Oh, no, yeah, this is, I was just, because it's an overhang, I didn't wanna fill it in like enclosed building, like the renderings show it, it's like an awning with the opening
Oh,
in
but
it.
it's on this drawing. You
Yeah,
got it, Mike?
Sorry.
So-
Yes, so right here, this is this awning.
On the opposite side.
Right, so I was saying these are the images I guess are being mirrored, I can try to do my best to mirror everything so that they're all facing, but it's this awning is right.
Yes, we'll need to have it
We're
all.
gonna need to adjust this,
Have it
it's
all
not mirrored,
matched.
it's exactly what it is. Right.
Yeah, because this also doesn't look like the same dimensions of the awning. Like, has 2 bays in it itself, which is kind of weird anyway, but.
I believe it does have 2 bays in the one on the plan. And that's perspective, so I think it's showing it oddly, but that's, again, this is just to show more the colors
I
and
think
look
that
of everything.
here, if I'm looking at it, I think maybe this is supposed to be over here.
So yeah, so that's mirrored, it's just.
This is like, yeah,
The awning should.
yeah, the awning should be shown as part of the building.
Right, so that's what I was trying to explain, that I didn't want to color it in like it's enclosed. I was trying to more show it like it was the structure, you know, there's the dashes on those 2.
So mine have to be 2 bays. Okay, so it's gotta be over here.
So this is where it's supposed to be, this one is just, this is how it's supposed to be. The site.
So the awning is not in line with the 2 garage door bays. Oh, right. Oh. So
These are here, this is a man door.
yeah, this is the man door.
What's happening through the man door?
Just opens up into the space, it's just all big storage space, it's just so he doesn't have to lift up the whole garage if he was going in for one item to pull out.
This packet also shows doors on the ends.
So that one's more general, that's engineering, it has comments to it being based off of the floor, like, so if you look at the building, it says to reference the floor plan for the exact length, because they only do prefab modular buildings, and so they provide this packet, and then you use the floor plan for the exact lengths, but it gives you all the specifications of the height, the material type, and then a general, this is a man door specification, and so that's the way the company provides it. I've pushed them and called them several times for different things as we communicated back and forth on this issue. But this is the specification packet they provide.
Can we, I'm sorry, so because we're on this building, the 3550 building.
Yeah.
If we can have consensus and clarification from the board and stuff, exactly what we want on this, in respect to this building. That will be the message.
Yeah, I don't, Doug maybe can articulate it better of how we need the awning on there, but we obviously want. I would like to see everything match up from the elevations and.
I don't think the building code is gonna allow you to do this, right? You need 10 feet, separation between buildings by New York State building code. And what you're showing here, if that's an awning, that's 17 feet, right? That other hatch mark is 5 feet. So you can't put those buildings that close together.
So the awning is counted as full building as well, it needs to be more than
That's my
10
understanding,
feet.
yeah. I mean, you may wanna talk to your architect to put this together.
Okay. I mean, we don't have a local architect, I guess, this is, again, prefab construction company that's mailing it and installing it, so we need to make sure we get that corrected so that you know, so I don't know if that's checking in with codes with the town to confirm what that spacing is. And then readjusting.
You mentioned that you don't have confirmation on the curb cut yet, right?
No, unfortunately, I just emailed Jeff back again and I will forward that to you the first I get it. I don't know if that's something, hopefully we'll have, I guess, for next time. His final comments?
We gotta go back to the building for a second.
Yeah.
Doug, what do you, besides this building maybe not being acceptable for code, what do we need to see on the site plan? For the proposed.
Well, I think we need the definition, right, that's the roof line there, right? You know, if we had the elevations on our plan here to scale, I think that would alleviate a lot of the confusion.
Does that make sense?
So can I pull the ones that are in the packet, scale them, give some additional information, and that's, like, can I create an elevation with that building side to scale, and that'll help? Or address the concern?
I guess if you're gonna sign and seal it, sure, right? I mean, but it's gotta be on a signed and sealed plan, right, by the code, right? So I mean,
Right.
I guess.
Right, so maybe I'm getting confused what the exact concern is it that the?
I can't tell what's going on here, to be quite honest with you, right? I can't see the peak of the roof, right? I think some of the board members have said inside here, I mean, it says it's all storage. You know, maybe it's gotta be put in here, that this is cold storage, 30 by 50 only,
Okay,
right? Because down the road, if the code's up, if there's a complaint, I mean, we do have a neighbor right next door that's residential. If there's a complaint, then, you know, the codes officer has to come in and say, well, this was only storage, right? So I think both buildings should say storage only, cold storage only. I mean, are they gonna be heated?
no,
I mean, my understanding is there's no
No,
water and
there's not.
sewer.
there's none.
The other thing that has come up, you know, through some of the board members is, you know, foundation plantings. You know, that there's no bollards in front of any of these buildings. There's no buffer for plantings, you know. There's no walkway to get into the man door. I mean, I guess it's underneath an awning now, but is, you know, what's the use of the awning? Is that cold storage too?
No, it's just that's the building structure he picked, he's not planning to store things out there under there. I think it's, I believe it is protection of that man door. And again, he's a part-time seasonally getting into this building, which I guess is maybe jumping ahead to comments in the letter about snow removal and issues, but it's a really low traffic. He's storing things, he's gonna come by himself, pick things up, pull them away. He's not staying there to be in the office to work on things. This is just storage, and I will make sure to add maybe on the site plan, cold storage only on both buildings. There's no heat, no water, no sanitary. He doesn't use any of the facilities here for that. He removes all waste off-site, just storage.
So while we're, and you know, this is for the board, just a reminder that this is subject to special permit.
Yes.
And with the special permit, there's all manner of compatibility, if we've been through the criteria that attends on special permit, and reasonable conditions can be put on. So, I just, as this discussion moves forward on the various other aspects of this plan, including the existing building and the rest of the site plan, is to, you know, talk about how this can be made compatible with the neighborhood. And can you drive the car,
I think the other thing is too, that if you folks look at the comp plan, this is noted as a low density residential area. right? So as you make your decision, you may want to take that into account of how this meshes with that low residential long-term goal that you're looking at.
Well, I don't wanna jump around, but while we're talking about the building
Absolutely.
and the comp plan, and I was looking at this submission, and tell me if this is most recent, this color chart.
I also, at the end of the architectural package, called the company, they didn't provide this sheet, I was looking for something, so I created it with, I think it was at the very end of the architectural engineering, it was in the late submission.
Yeah.
There's the colors that she told me the product number, the colors, I tried to pull just examples so you could see, obviously they're renderings, but what that color, each of those colors look like on the building. But I pulled this together with all the information they gave me because they don't have a sheet.
Okay, well, cause we had done this at some point. and it
Yes, you
says
did, yeah, yeah.
See carports and garages, which is the same name that's on here.
Yeah.
And so keeping with the comp plan, low density residential, I just think, this is my own opinion, I just think this crimson red and the black are very bold for the area.
Mm-hmm.
And I think looking at these other color offerings, I think that something like the clay or the pebble beige or the grays or the sandstone would blend in with this area and not make it look like, oh my God, there's a huge pole barn now.
Right.
That doesn't look residential at all, because it already, the structure already does not look residential
Right.
at all. And the existing structure doesn't. So we're gonna talk about that one at some point. So that would be my feedback. My other note, just, I would appreciate it, we're gonna have another, we have to have a public hearing, another meeting. I would really encourage Mr. Cooley to attend,
Mm-hmm.
so that he can answer some of these questions and have this discussion with us. I think it would be more effective and it would be content to attend either in person or virtually.
Okay.
So yeah, so that would be with the area, were my couple comments so far.
With respect to the building.
With respect to the building, yeah, and when, if we, let's see. Does anybody else have comments about the proposed building? We'll stay on that until we're done talking about that.
I just, it seems to me it's balanced, right?
Yes, it is.
We are talking about getting ready for a special permit. We're trying to give you the information that we need so that it can be constructed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a one-story barn, for God's sake. I've given notes about all the things that need to happen on the drawing. And it includes like 8 or 9 points already. It just seems like we're complicating this one. And we just get the building structure out correctly out here, get the building dimensions correctly. Call it the storage that it is, since it's not gonna be used for business. Fix the awning dimensions. Elevations provided to scale. And it needed to be signed and sealed.
Mhm.
I mean,
There you go, you summarized it very well.
Yes.
Thank you, David.
So I guess I haven't gotten the answer yet. I want to do all that with these elevations. The ones they provided are not exact. They have the correct height and then the length for where it's like the 50-foot, it says compared, like essentially the C plan for exact length. Here's a standard man door, here's a standard garage door and how it will look. And so the elevation, at least in those packets and what the architectural engineering company that can stamp it for us has given us is that. And so I can scale those, I have the ability to pull those out, separate them, but I can give you that stamped and then I can make a correct drawn, I guess I'll say visual, an elevation. I can create an elevation. I guess it's just not architecturally
I
stamped.
think that's right.
Okay.
Where's the height
Just
given?
show me.
I think the height is, I found it on the cover page, 16 feet.
So there's if it says there, the also,
Maximum 30 wide.
16 feet height.
Variance is 14 feet.
Yeah.
14 foot, 16 foot, there's 3 12 roofs,
Yeah, I mean,
6 12 roofs.
this,
And they're all
this,
stamped
So
in
yeah, so we
full.
need
yeah,
to-
this is a menu that you get when you order the building, right? It's not site specific.
Don't know what is applicable now to this specific
Right.
presentation.
Yeah, we do have to know that for
Yeah.
approval.
Because it's gonna be important of how the new building varies to the existing building, right?
right. Okay, we can
And
make
that's
sure
what we're
that's,
gonna wanna see on the
not
elevations is how this site works together.
Mr.
Do
Cody,
we have elevations, do we have dimensions of the existing building?
I don't think they're shown, I can put them, no, I don't have them specifically dimensioned, I will add those,
Yeah,
so that
and
that's
the height and
clear.
everything, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then speaking of colors, since these are, I think somewhere I read that they were Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin, I don't remember. Based on my color suggestions, we kind of like to see if the board, most of the board agrees, if not all of us, that we would like to see the existing building updated to the same colors.
Yes, I think I don't know which memo I've written, we will match it. If we're changing colors, it will not say that it's the red and black anymore, but we plan to, or he plans to paint them to match.
Okay, we will be taking that sign off.
Okay, okay, I will add that to the drawing.
Sorry.
I said, whatever we want.
Oh, yes.
I believe it is, I believe actually, sorry.
I did not see that.
The sign.
Number 8 keynote, that's listed on the site plan for the existing building says that it will be repainted to match the 3550 building and to see the architectural
Only have
materials
7.
for additional colors. That's not the most recent set I submitted.
Okay. Yep, okay, great,
So if
we
we
have
can
that on.
see, it might be nice to, see a visual of that, of the colors. For next time, we would like to see, how does the board feel about more neutral colors or, I agree.
It conforms with our comprehensive.
Agreed, okay. So we would like to see more neutral colors. And then if we could, like we had a property, there was a cannabis dispensary, it was an old stone building, an old building. And they did a nice visual of what they were gonna do with the paint and the awnings and the trim and like taking that sign down and, just,
Yeah.
basically restoring that a little bit, beautifying it. So they were able to provide us with a nice visual of that, which would be good to see for this, and then see how it reflects and matches the. And if you, Lisa could probably, if you needed, she could get. Yeah, that's one of what they had. Yeah, yeah. Well, I just said I was saying I don't know, I just checked these off and maybe,
It just seemed like if they came back, here's a range of neutral that we were interested in.
So it was I don't know, and everybody can tell me, it was like this clay color. I just checked some off that I thought would match. Couple of the beige, the grays, the sandstone. I don't know, maybe this. It's hard to tell a little bit on these drawings, but I'm not even sure about the sandstone maybe, it's a little heavy, but at least it's more earthy, I'm thinking more earthy
Yes,
colors
to
are
blend it to the back.
As long as they.
maybe a
have
darker
framework
trim,
to come
but
back
not,
with, that's all.
yeah,
Yeah.
Does that help?
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
No phosphorus, right?
yeah, that's a greenish, so the only green on here is this dark evergreen.
I don't,
There are
I just want them to come back and framework it.
Yeah, I guess not the reds or the copper,
What about it?
the raw
Very
pine.
overwhelming, so, small site, very full buildings, it's, almost saying, essentially, their size.
Right. We are.
The flow of the
Yes,
neighborhood.
hold on, David and I, well, I want Alex to hear what Don is saying.
If this building is built, it's a small site, it's gonna have a lot of building on it. I think the color scheme should diminish the scope and scale of the buildings, not accentuate it or have.
Does everyone agree with that?
Oh, what's that?
Yes. Okay. What were you guys saying?
I don't see who the neighbors are on either side, but I understand there are neighbors on both sides.
There's a residential one.
Yes.
And the other is that old stone schoolhouse building that is around now, I believe.
Is it a residence?
Yeah, it was a business.
I was gonna say, I thought it was a business, but not.
It's a residence,
You're very close to your neighbors.
yes.
Have 6, 4 to 5 inch, 4 to 5 inch for a screen. Marble winter, those advertisers by
So
the local beer.
we have Serbian spruce on one side, I believe, and
Don't
then,
worry about that.
okay, and then we have the arborvitae on the other one.
Everybody is just like an appetite.
Right.
The arbor, yeah.
So very narrow.
So they were, yeah, kind of with the constraints of the property line, the neighbors, what's going on their side and ours, that was where we landed on those. I mean, I think in an ideal world, it would be Serbian spruce over there too, something big to block, but I don't believe there's the space over there for that, in terms of screening to go with a larger species.
Sorry,
Is
can you
there
tell us
any
how
year
much-
resistant evergreen that does scale?
We will, I will look into that again. That is, I think there's a lot of deer food out there that will,
I mean, once they eat that, they eat this.
right.
I read that you said that the junipers were gonna go at the road because of the salt and.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of different things with the spacing and the proximity to the road right there. I don't think much is going to survive with the snow plowing that's gonna go along that road. Then the salt, and then again, the space that's actually there to plant, because while there's more space, we can only plant to the property line. We can't plant all the way into the right of way.
Yeah, someone mentioned not harbor rights. Is that what you're
On,
saying?
on the
Yeah.
side, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And you were saying that you can't physically fit anything.
I mean, we
between
can-
The
we can-
existing building and the stone building.
We can show, I just think knowing what's on the other side, the proximity to that person's house where that line is being shown, and then just our, I guess, gravel surfacing that we selected the arborvitae. Also, it screens relatively quickly. We thought that would be a benefit, but it's just as a tight space, you can see if you look at the Serbian spruce on the opposite side, how much larger those are, and that's shown that they get even bigger than that, so. Just like I said, it's not a huge site, we're trying.
So if you take another look at the photo mentioned too, it wasn't placed on the survey, and it's only for the one building. And it's the new proposed building, but it shows 3 roll-up doors on this one.
Yeah.
And then it shows spillage over to the neighbor's property. If this is drawn to scale, it really needs to be put on survey so we can tell what that is.
So it was put on this site plan. You are correct that the building, we sent our site plans to the lighting engineer, I'll say, and they added the lights to scale. It is the other building. So, yeah, I mean, we can certainly go back and reduce, this is what, when we talked to the lighting company, this is the minimum for emergency ingress and egress. Over the doors is the absolute minimum. I don't think Mr. Cooley is particularly interested in lighting it, frankly. He doesn't access it beyond daylight hours, and again, not daily, only seasonally during the warm months. And so he's not, this was requested as a traditional site plan package that he was providing it, but it's not something. So I don't know, balancing again what he wants, what you guys want, what minimum when you start putting in lighting, what that requires.
Well, I think the photometric plan definitely needs to be updated to the
Okay.
current proposed condition. And, as part of this.
It's a second problem.
Yeah.
So the lights are shown on the site plan. I did show them, but I putting,
Yeah, I guess I'm worried about this, which you guys referenced that you had heard. But this is the proposed building, so the existing building is not here. And like Doug was saying, there's 3 garage bays on this one, so.
okay, we can ask them
There's a
to
lot of
just
different,
update it.
and so then it would be put on the site plan as a separate sheet like this.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's usually that long. I'm wondering if it got lost in the email. I will call him, but usually it takes that long. It's just usually back and forth.
I'll reference the cannabis building again. Similar situation, so if you go on our website and look under planning board approved projects, you'll see what they submitted and what they were working with as well. And they did, and like when Doug was talking about walkways and stuff, it is very simple stuff, but it really was made.
They also have.
Yeah, they close up some of the gravel and grass. Walkway and landscape.
It turned out pretty nice.
Yeah.
They did do a good job.
Yeah.
They did, right, when they looked at the grass.
They do have customers, which
Yeah.
here we look and they don't.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's done.
And we learned
As far as
Of the older, kind of customers.
as far as like tightening up all the gravel and the.
Yeah, and that's all the plan, is that all that's gonna be returned to lawn where it's not gravel anymore, as the site plan has it sort of delineated, hopefully readable. I can change it to colored so it's easier to see, but we're really tightening into the DOT standard 24-foot entry drive. And only keeping the gravel to the absolute necessary for navigating in and out of there, the rest is being returned to lawn.
Okay, and. There is.
Proposed material on the curb cut.
It's gonna be gravel and lawn. The gravel surfacing, obviously cleaned up, having a sub base where this is, deteriorating and kind of what it is right now, but.
I do think you're gonna have problems with snow storage, especially that awning is in there, right? I mean, you're gonna dump the snow, it's gonna go right up against the
So-
garage doors.
He really doesn't access it in the winter at all. Only in the seasons that landscaping projects are being done, and It's part-time, so it's really only taking, so I don't really think snow is going to be an issue. He's not really gonna be accessing this, and then when he does, yeah, so there is limited space, but he has said he does not access it around.
Would that have to be a condition? Special use permit, if there's no- What if there's a fire and I don't know, it's not clear. I'm just asking.
Well, I mean, the other thing is that we'll just be mindful. There could be a condition on a special permit that if this is no longer used for seasonal storage, then special permit, right? So that you can't, nobody else can use it. Like, they just move in, right? I'm gonna use it for storage and then, and then it's just not a site that works at all.
So in this case, the permit's going with the owner.
Well, it's a condition, I mean, you have to formulate something like this. Or. Storage. Just storage. It happens to me, but it's not.
No office.
I guess there's a different building layout for better two buildings, right? Because if you have an addition on the existing building, you get the same storage area.
Yeah, but they're using the prefabricated stuff, that's why. I think that's where most of the problem lies. They're buying a prefabricated building that the prefabricator does not want to read any drawings or anything there. It's their cooling, it should be really hiring somebody to do the elevations correctly and have them stamped by some architect. Instead of doing that, we're doing it decently. I think that's what it is.
I think Alex is gonna do just for that.
Yeah, I think-
She is, yeah.
I think
That's why we want you to come in, right?
I think we're.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I understand.
But I think we have to keep in mind the snow storage for the special use permit, depending on what Mr. Cooley decides he wants to do. Looking through this list. The survey, we have, what, can we talk about the survey for a minute?
Yes, if it's about the stamping and signing, I've reached out to make sure that that's shown.
And I think, I just wanted to ask everybody a question. This is the survey that I have. Does everybody have this survey dated 11/25/2024? Sure, you have that?
Yep.
Okay. If I'm going with what we always say, that proposed building on the survey. So, not the proposed building on the survey. Where do you? Okay,
That's fine.
so proposed to be on it.
Yes,
Okay.
that was okay.
Okay. Does this survey have everything it needs to, based on your comments?
Jamie, are you looking at the survey? Yeah. So Genesee Turnpike. Shows the center line. Edge of pavement. Shows the street line. Is that what you would see for the Genesee Turnpike? Or would you see right away?
I mean, no, that's fine.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a fact of delineation. That's not sure. To tell you the truth.
I don't think it's super tricky.
Is the foundation still there? I know,
So, yes, the old foundation is there, and we're pulling that out.
okay,
That's all.
I just wanna make sure everything is correct, so they don't need to do anything
That
else.
should probably be on the site plan.
It
The
is
old
on
foundation to be
this,
removed.
the site prep is on the site prep plan.
Site prep.
Old concrete foundation with a removal note.
I mean, the other thing is, again, when the special permit goes in, things like this parking situation, there's really no parking.
Yeah.
So there just must be something, right, even if it's one space, but, you know, I think we need to think carefully about the condition of the special permit because, you know, it's very one-dimensional use building. This little guy is gonna go there by himself once in a while, and it just, I think we need to make that clear in the special permit, because there really is no risk of parking.
But there's no other developmental use for this half-acre piece of ground, is there? At least he's making something of it.
Well, I mean, this is long ago we planned. Just because it's a little better, it doesn't mean we need to take it, like, we want to wait for the right thing. I'm not saying this is not just, this is
Yeah.
planning. Yes, it will be better, but is it what the town wants in this area? So that's what I want. It looks like they're heading toward that, but that's. Because you can put a little paint on more buildings better. They're here, you will never see this in your lifetime or mine again, once this happens, okay, so. Of course, it's if there's no problem, then, if, you know, this town's never gonna get much a bite in this. You don't wanna put them through irrational, you know, cases, it has to fit the request reasonably, right, and what we're asking him has to be reasonable. But
Has he gone to the zoning board of appeals yet, Jamie, for his variances?
there's no variances on this.
No variance. Even with the 6 foot setback?
That's already there, it's existing.
Yeah, they'll just have, I think they'll just have to check on the building code that I was talking about.
The spacing between.
Space.
If he was putting the new building, then yes. And not conforming, so, you know, you keep that in mind, so you're continuing this. This, you know, structure. Yeah,
And I cut. Something else I wrote down for as a possible condition of the special use permit, if he is, again, if in Mr. Cooley's case, he's taking all waste out and there's gonna be no dumpster, no waste. We'll have to include that as well, because there will be no site conditions. In case it's used for something else in the future. And I'm just, again, going back to the comp plan and this area. Just thinking of the roof and the siding being galvanized metal.
As long as the paint hides what you want, it makes it conform to the surroundings.
I mean, we have asked for materials of construction from this board in the past,
I know, like the roof.
like samples.
The roof's painted.
Is it?
Yeah.
Either that color red or the black.
Okay.
Pre-painted.
Cool.
Oh. There are no parking. It's parking in this kind of situation in our code from section 15.31, off-street parking, is that the to go?
Off-street parking.
And really precise for this kind of situation. I didn't understand what I think.
I think I read the same thing down.
Pardon?
I think I read the same thing, yes.
Yes.
But there's a special use permit here. So I think we can cover the parking underneath the special use requirement.
Oh, we can require something, yes. yes, but it's not something we can put in code and say, well, code says this is what a storage building, this square footage requires X number of parking lots. I didn't see anything like that.
What would we think about the parking, if the parking's gonna be in front of the two bays at the front building? Kind of like a driveway and a garage door. Do we want the parking right up against the road where it is now? Or would we prefer the parking spaces and the doors to the proposed building further out?
The parking would be near where the landlord is, but the landlord's under covering, it's not accessible by vehicle, so that idea doesn't.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
I was hearing garage door, you said main door, yes.
I mean, who knows, maybe they'll have to change the orientation, maybe you'll have to change the orientation of the building and the awning, you know, depending on that whole thing anyway, like.
The only time that it's gonna be anybody parking. Put something, take something out.
Right, so
There are no customers.
yeah, and I heard that originally they told us the idea was so that you could get those trucks inside, so that they weren't outside.
It makes sense, you know, so it's- Car that might have to go to the first bay of the existing grade car building. Car parking there versus a car that's adjacent to the building currently, it seems to be better. So the parking lots, I seem to be here one terrible
Yeah, I don't,
situation. Is there any need to try and
I'm
do
not-
that some of the locations?
yeah, I'm not too concerned about the parking. Personally.
I go, I mean,
Okay, good.
going back to extremely limited use of this.
Yeah.
Secret out of scale project to me, but the fellow wants to go, he owns the land, private zone.
All right, so what does the board, anyone else on the board want to comment about parking, or are we okay with where it's indicated on the site plan and taking note of that?
I only comment about parking is, I'm looking at a street view right now, where a car is parked, so it shouldn't be parked right next to the road.
I know, yeah,
So
that's not
I was
there
I was
anymore.
gonna say, and the Juniper's also, I
Yeah.
believe there's a previous comment. where
There'll be
also-
lawn,
Yeah, there's.
yeah,
And the whole
well, that
idea,
is lawn, but, you know,
No better.
the whole idea is,
we could put that in the special use permit too.
Right.
Parking
Outdoor
is only
storage, don't throw
parking
anything on the
is
side
in
of
a
the building.
designated spot.
we're not trying to be jerks,
Well,
about this,
landscape,
but the neighbors don't wanna see this kind
There
of.
is.
Well, you could actually make some of this lawn in between the buildings and use that as snow storage.
So where between, the lawn is, if you go building, then you have the maintenance strip, and then it is lawn. Put in the space between the buildings, it's not.
From that white that's marked 4 on the 30 by 50 building
White,
up to the dry well. If that were all lawn,
All right, so.
that could all be snow storage.
Okay,
sorry,
okay. So with Doug's last comment, I don't know if anyone else has anything, I think I wanna wrap up and make sure Alex has, that's what you said.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
no, you're.
Make sure- I wanna make sure Alex has what she needs to go and come back. I just wanted to say a couple of more things. Unless people feel strongly otherwise, I think we need to wait on setting the public hearing date, so we need a lot more, okay. Two more things then, and then I think we'll let you ask any other questions you have, Alex. We did submit this to the county planning board, I don't know if you.
Yeah.
So I just wanna make sure that, on where they noted a couple things, that the topographic survey dated, which what we were referencing, 11/25/24, included referral materials shows the boundaries of Pool Brook, but not the delineated federal wetland boundary or its associated floodplain and floodway.
Ooh, the flood lines.
So
Wetland.
I wanted to ask Doug about that and see if that's something we wanna see on the survey, and then the other comment they had was the the boundaries of the floodplain and floodway are not depicted in the referral material. So when they're talking about both wetlands and the 100-year floodplain and floodway. So I just wanted Doug to comment on that, and that was the last comment I had.
Although they do come back with no modifications.
Right, and it's nothing there's nothing in
Well,
that
so, I mean, they can
area.
be shown, but I guess
But-
to speak to both of those, neither of those make it anywhere up that. Poolsbrook sits down.
Right, it's right, yeah, and I don't know if they're saying that, I mean, they definitely indicated that nothing's, they definitely indicated that nothing's being built down there, we know that, we know there's quite an elevation change, and it's not, but I didn't know if going, just with all the new regulations and everything.
I mean, I agree with that, because I don't think it's an impact, right, I mean, the toe of the slope is 518. She's got a building at 544,
Okay,
right, so.
so as long as we're good, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Alex, what questions do you have for us to go away with?
I don't think I have any questions, I don't think I entered with any or have any, I just wanted to hear from you guys what the concerns were. It's helpful in our notes, but it's always more helpful to be face to face and point at things together and talk. But I don't think I have any immediate comments. I do need to review it with Mr. Cooley, because I guess frankly, he's like a matrix, not in a way that's supposed to be rude repeatedly, but he's just a part-time landscaping company winding down, and I don't know how much he really truly wants to. He wants to put enough in, not that he doesn't care or want to, but I think he's balancing trying to make things better for what he has and also not do too much, if that makes sense, is with like the life expectancy of the business as it continues. And so I think he's gonna wanna look at this, because I'm sure, or maybe you were aware of, and he entered it thinking he just needed a permit, and then it turned into this whole thing. And so I don't know where he's gonna say, okay, actually, never mind, I'm done. So I don't know, and I can't speak to him for it,
Sure.
so I will review all this. I'm glad I have all these notes, but I think that's going to be a consideration for him. But
Yeah.
it's not really a question, but just,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that you had everything you needed.
oh yes, plenty, thank
Okay.
you.
Is there any other comments or questions from the board?
Nope.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, thank you guys, I really appreciate it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, that was long to work through, but I
Nope.
appreciate the help.
All right, I don't have any other business, so now I'll start with the motion.
So it's taking
Yeah.
over.
No, I just wanted to bring up, the last meeting, we brought up the sandwich sign. Sandwich.
Yes.
So I was by just I drove by it and stopped. I think a couple times it's still up, so I don't know if we were addressing that or what.
I think we said what we said, and
The code enforcement.
goes in town for us, and they're acting. As they should. Okay. Thank you.
In the absence of Mr. Rossetti, I would like to vote it adjourned.
Ooh,
All right, motion made by Arnie.
can I second that?
Second by David, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries, meeting is adjourned.